the others who are trying to get information that they're trying to get from you all. So we ask that you please mute your phones so we will not disturb anyone from missing information that they would like to have tonight. Also, you are so welcome to go to the chat and ask any questions that you would like to ask. Just know, as I teach my students at school, the only dumb question is the one that's not asked. So tonight, there are no dumb questions. If you want to know something, please feel free to put it in the chat and we will try to answer those questions. But just know on our agenda at the end, there will be space for you to also ask questions. Last but not least, we want everyone to know that this will be a recorded meeting. So everything that is said tonight will be recorded and you will receive emails on how you may be able to obtain this information on a later time. We're so excited tonight because we have facilitators that will be sharing information with you. We'll be coming from Barbara. We will also be coming from Ms. Della, and we'll be coming from Ms. Jenny Prince, who we are already talking to. And at the end, we will talk to, I'm trying to get it. At the end, Ms. Debbie. She will conclude this meeting. And each of you, please be encouraged as we go through this meeting, and please be welcome to ask questions. All right, I turn into the hands of Ms. Barbara. It's all yours.
Thank you, Myra. Welcome, everyone. Well, I want to give you a little overview of the LFANC and describe to you, starting with our mission. Okay, the Lupus Foundation of America North Carolina chapter is dedicated to improving the quality of life for all people affected by lupus through programs of research, education, support, and advocacy. We do have a lot of programs and services, okay? Beginning with the educational material, okay? We have booklets, fact sheets on all aspects of living and coping with lupus, okay? Education programs to provide updates on development in research, treatment, and coping with lupus. We also have our website, which is www.lupusnc.org. Okay, it provides the latest information on living with lupus, message boards, ask the experts, and links to other resources. We have orientation seminars for people newly diagnosed with lupus, support groups for people with special needs or who want to help from others facing similar challenges. We have health educators. And now I'm going to turn it over to Della.
Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate that. Thank you, Myra, for welcoming everyone to our first statewide annual support group meeting. Thank you, Jenny Prince. She has been a trooper during this time of the COVID pandemic, still leading North Carolina, still leading us to programs like tonight. So I want to say thank you, Jenny. I think we all need to pause to thank Jenny for still pressing and still being innovative and creative as to how she can best support all of us. So I applaud you, Jenny, on tonight. So thank you. This is great. This is great. My role tonight is to talk about a lupus support group and what really is that about. And hopefully you have some family members that are joining us tonight as well. A lupus support group basically is an opportunity for members to provide each other with various types of help. The lupus patients, they come together to share coping strategies so that they can feel more empowered and have a sense of community. People who they can identify with, that can relate to their concerns. Family, friends are welcome. Coworkers are welcome to join support group meetings. It's a good place and a good time for them to learn more and to hear about even what their family members are going through as to ways that they can help best support them. Support groups are good. It is good that as each of us come together to hear stories, to hear testimonies of others, and to learn how they might best support loved ones, as I said, and to learn more about the disease. Our support groups and the support groups that we provide is a safe place to share. Confidentiality is kept. It's non-judgmental. It's a space where you can laugh and even you can cry. It provides an opportunity for our members to share those personal experiences and the feelings that they're going through, or even having firsthand and sometimes frustration, and to share firsthand information about the disease and treatments. We're not doctors, but we do share those kind of resources that might help and be helpful to others. Ideally, our goal for a support group is that every member that attends a support group meeting, that they will leave with the tools and some skills and feel connected and have a new perspective that can help them take and tackle the problems, tackle the flares, and find ways that they can help in their moments to progress towards a healthier life as we live and cope with lupus. As a co-facilitator, my goal, I aim to, connect our members with more information and resources related to lupus, whether it's workshops or webinars, just as Barbara just shared with you, information that is, adding you to the foundation email list, and also like events that we're having on tonight. The reason I became a facilitator, it was in 1988 when I was diagnosed with lupus. There were no local support groups in my area, and at that time, that was the Durham area. Currently, I'm in Raleigh area, but there was no local support groups. As I searched the websites, I did find the Winston-Salem Piedmont, some of you may remember this, the Piedmont region area that was pretty much dormant. And in 2013, I decided to take the training and become a facilitator because what I've learned in just going myself, I knew the value of connecting to others, to someone who understood, someone that could empathize with my pain, with the struggles, the everyday of just finding strength to get out of the bed, just as Myra shared with you her story, finding that strength. But it was so important to connect to like-minded people who were doing and going through the same thing. And being a facilitator, it was important to me that I wanted to help newly diagnosed patients. As you see, again, 1988, it's been over 35 years, right, that I have been coping with this. And so I wanted the opportunity to also help newly diagnosed patients, to let them know that they can live their best. Yes, they can live their best life as possible with lupus, that they can manage lupus, they can control lupus, and refuse to let lupus manage and control their life. It's just learning how to do that and to be the best advocate for themselves. That is what I wanted to instill in each of our members. And that is why I chose to become a facilitator. I see it as ministry for myself. And I believe that if I have lived with this disease for over 30 some years, I've learned some things along the way. And I wanted to share that with people who are learning and have been newly diagnosed with lupus. Tonight I have with me Keandra Ewing, and she is a member of the Wake County Lupus Support Group. At one time it was the Raleigh support group, but because this is such a large county, it is now the Wake County Lupus Support Group. So she would share her story and her experiences as being a part of a lupus support group. So I'll turn it over now to Keandra. Thank you.
Thank you, Della. So my name is Keandra Ewing, and I have had the privilege of being part of our lupus support group in the Wake County area it's about 4 years now. So I was diagnosed in 2017. And shortly after that, I found out that there was a support group. I think it was a couple weeks after my diagnosis. And so I knew the importance of being connected with others. And so I joined the support group. It has been a great source of encouragement. You're starting this journey, you don't know what's in store. And so I loved being able to gather with our group every month, and just get that encouragement, to hear stories, to hear testimonies of people who have been through this battle for a long time, specifically Bella, hearing her story that over 30 years ago. And so it just reminded me that I was going to get through this, that I was going to make it. And so I have been so fortunate to be able to build relationships with others, to be a source of encouragement, to help our group stay connected even throughout the week using GroupMe, and just being able to share my story. So it has been a tremendous blessing. I'm so thankful for our support group and what it has meant to me. For about 2 years, I was unable to work and just felt so low and felt, in a sense, like without purpose, like what am I doing? And so this group has been a part of just fueling my purpose, and knowing that right where I was, right in the middle of battling lupus, that I had a story and I could share that story with others. And so I'm happy to say now that I am working full time, and things have changed tremendously for me, but the support group has been a huge part of that. So thank you, Della. Thank you, Tanetta, for all you do to support us here in this area. I'm thankful for you.
All right, thank you so much. And just a second, Della, if you'll unmute yourself, if you have, is Connie with us?
I'm so sorry. Miss Connie said she could not make it tonight.
That is A-okay. We all know when we have lupus that our plans don't always work as we want them to. So what a great story. Thank you for sharing that. And just to know that it's worthwhile. And for those of you that are on the call that are considering joining a support group, hopefully those are good messages and understanding of what a support group means. So thank you for that. Again, I'm Jenny Prince, and I am the president and CEO of the organization. And when we were, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about, if you will, kind of a State of the Union address of what's going on in the lupus world with the North Carolina chapter and the national office. But I do want to pause and thank each and every one of our support group leaders throughout the state. They give tirelessly of their time, and they do a lot for you guys when they're planning and they're checking on you guys. And it's just amazing how wonderful they are about giving their time and their talent and their treasure. Just so grateful for each of you and what you do, especially during the last couple of years when a support group, we think that we want to be together in person. So it's been a bit of a rough road that we've had to learn to navigate, but thank you to our support group leaders for all that you have done and your commitment to serve in such unprecedented times. So thank you for that. So let's, I think I've got just about everybody muted, but if you're not muted, make sure you're done, you have done that. And then let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the foundation. First of all, we've got several events that are planned for 2022. And the best news of all is that we are going to try to do some of them in person, provided it is safe at the time they are scheduled. The first one is our Let's Talk About It series. That's the monthly series that you are able to join other chapters throughout the country. I think there was one just earlier this week on lupus in the skin. We, of course, do our educational webinars throughout the year and promote those. And those are great to learn about everything from, for instance, last year we had some that were specifically on the new medications and learning things about that, or it might be lupus nephritis, it might be lupus and hair loss. There's always, we try to give you the newest information out there to help you manage your journey. We also each year try to do a lupus 101. So for someone that is seeking diagnosis or new to their lupus diagnosis, just to learn the very basics of what it means to have lupus. Our Walk to End Lupus Now kickoff week will be in April of this year, and we are finalizing the details. I was hoping to have them tonight, but we're finalizing the details on location, date, etc. As we are planning to be in person on places that we normally have our walk are slow to open back up as well. So more to come on that. Lupus Awareness Month is May, of course, and May 10th will be put on Purple Day. And we have we'll have a lot of great activities planned that day as well. So stay tuned for more to come on that. Our educational summit, that too, we are our goal is to have in person this year, and that will be hopefully like late July, early August. Again, securing a location, as the places we've had it in the past are not open yet, but we'll get there. And I just mentioned the Walk to End Lupus Now again. We will have our goal this year, provided we can be in person, is to have both a hybrid option, a hybrid event, so that there will be an in-person option as well as a virtual option, because we want everyone to feel safe. So that's what's going on with our events. We also have a new program that you should have gotten an email about this past week, which is called Self. This is a brand new program, which is an online self-management program, which is free, and it's designed to help people with lupus live their best life. And it is a virtual coach, if you will, that we are getting early indications is that it's going to be fantastic. And hopefully it is something that will help you navigate your lupus journey from day to day.
Hey, Jenny, are we
Yes.
supposed to be seeing your slides?
Yes, are y'all not seeing them?
No, I sent you a message.
Okay,
if you
I'm
could
sorry.
advance those. It's on the first page still.
Okay, hold on just a second. Let me see what I can do. I'm sorry about that, you guys. We let's see. Can you see this? What does it say now?
It's 22 chapter.
Okay, that's
events.
where we're, okay, great. That's what I was just talking about. Thank you, Della, for letting me know that. From where I was, it looks like we could see it, so I apologize. So these are our chapter events that we just spoke about. And then this was where we were, is the Self program. And that is what is taking place. That's what we have right now that I think is going to be fantastic, and you are going to enjoy it. And it'll be something that will be meaningful to your lupus journey as we, as you move forward. And hold on, I'm going to try one more thing. Again, technology, you guys are wonderful, and we are very thankful that you are working with us on that. Okay, so that's the new programming one. Next is our leadership. I want to tell you a little bit about our leadership at the organization. We are overseen by a board of directors, and our board of directors are volunteers that are fantastic people that have some type of tie to lupus. Some of them have lupus, some of them have a loved one with lupus, some of them want to be involved in the community and serve in that capacity. So they oversee the operations and financial management of the chapter. Our staff, small but mighty, that we've had some transition as well during COVID. Myself, Joanne Rita, who her focus is patient services as well as the administrative management of the chapter. And then Adrienne, who joined us last fall, who handles all our PR and marketing. She's our PR and marketing coordinator. And those are our team. A couple of things to let you know that is going on in, I'm sorry, you guys. our objectives for 2022. These are the things that we want to accomplish and make happen in 2022. We want to raise awareness and grow participation in support groups. And the reason we want to do that is because we have heard, just like you heard in the testimonials tonight, that support groups are really it is such a crucial part of so many people's lupus journey, as it really makes a difference for someone to connect and be with someone who understands what it's like to live this life with lupus. And they're powerful, they are meaningful, you will make amazing friendships, and I just encourage you, if you're not to be a part of one, to take part now. We want to increase funding, because of increasing funding means we get to do more. That's the bottom line, and that can be done through donations that are directly to the organization, through third-party fundraisers, and through our events like our walk. We also want to grow participation in our board of directors and committees throughout the state. We'll speak a little bit about that in just later on in the presentation. But if you are interested in getting involved along with your support group membership, or at a different level with the organization, contact me and we will connect you to the right place. We want to host a hybrid walk and educational summit. We want to offer both a virtual and in-person options. And again, return to in-person offerings by this summer, provided we can do so safely. That is one thing that we want to do more than anything. I have missed you guys so much, and hope it's someday soon. I'm giving you a hug because I want to see you. The latest research, this is another thing I want to share with you. There's a lot of things that are happening with research in the lupus field, and it's exciting to know that research is being done at a higher level than it's ever has in the past. First, there's vitamin D. There's a study that found that taking a vitamin D supplement for 5 years with or without fish oil can help reduce autoimmune diseases such as lupus. We have a doctor on the Medical Science Advisory Council who led this study, Dr. Karen Barter, and she found that autoimmune diseases were reduced by 22% in those with increased levels of vitamin D. So that's a great thing to think about when you're managing your lupus. We're seeing some great things with that study and the research. Early studies with molecular discoveries. This is very scientific, but we're seeing that this study found that people with lupus nephritis that are class 3, 4, or 5 share 52 of the same gene expressions and molecular pathways. An insight to these pathways in inflammation, with the kidney, nanostring, et cetera, that we're seeing this information is helping the pharmaceutical companies and the doctors and physicians treat lupus as they understand more about it, which is fantastic. Hormone treatment, this is in its very early stages, as it's still lab treatments. It's not made it to the clinical trial stages yet, but we're seeing that that treatment is not affecting disease markers with some hormone replacement therapies, which is great news. And that early findings are encouraging that hormone therapy may help in the treatment of the disease. And then last of all, for those of you that that may be young and joining us and want to know if lupus in pregnancy is viable, we are seeing new research to demonstrate how important it is to keep up with your HQC as prescribed by your physician during pregnancy. Hydrochloroquine, we're seeing how it behaves differently during pregnancy, but that it is important for a healthy pregnancy to stay on your HQC, which is fantastic news for the treatment of the disease as well as a healthy pregnancy. The next thing we'll talk about is the newest medications. For those of you, like Della shared, that has been with the organization for a long time, you may remember new medications to the treatment of lupus wasn't heard of for a long, long time. And last year alone, 2 new medications were approved by the FDA, which is exciting. The first one is Safranillo. which was developed by AstraZeneca. They're going to be involved in our summit this year. You'll get to meet people from AstraZeneca. It was approved in July. It does treat moderate to severe SLE. And what makes it unique, it's the first ever type 1 interferon receptor to hit the market. So that, and early indications, I was actually on a call with AstraZeneca today, and they're getting very positive reviews from the physicians, which is great news. The second one is the Lupus. That was developed by Aurinia. It was approved in about a year ago. And what makes it unique, it is the only oral medication for specifically indicated for the treatment of lupus nephritis. So again, great news that we are seeing new medications developed for the treatment of lupus, and that pharmaceuticals companies are investing in this disease, which I think is fantastic, because we need that kind of research, and we need that kind of work to be done to make our lives, for those of us living with lupus, better every day. A few things about the LFA, in case you aren't aware, is that the LFA is our national headquarters, and they are located in Washington, and there are affiliate chapters throughout the United States. We are considered an affiliate chapter. So although we are aligned with the national office, we are our separate 501c3, and we do programming together. But if some big picture things about us, the LFA, the first U.S. nonprofit organization to fund research on adult stem cells as potential new treatment for lupus, and those early tests are positive. We're seeing great work from that and remission from the disease. The only organization with a dedicated program to fund research on childhood lupus. We do have a few people involved in our chapter whose families are involved, that we are seeing children diagnosed with lupus. So obviously that's a thing we want to fund quickly and treat effectively, so these children can have long lives and grow into a healthy adulthood. The first lupus organization to fund research for cardiovascular disease and lupus, and the only nonprofit health organization with a dedicated focus on unblocking the mysteries of lupus and the impact to the brain and kidneys. So lots of good things that happen with the LFA and the affiliate chapters. And if you are just joining us, if you will please mute yourself as we continue with the meeting, that would be great. We will take questions in a little bit. The next thing I wanted to do is share what some of the things that happen at the national level. Part of the donations that we receive and our local chapters help our dollars come together to work on these type of outcomes. So we want to achieve disease-specific outcomes, reducing time to diagnosis. As you, many of you probably know, the average time for diagnosis is somewhere between 5 to 7 years, and we're making that time to diagnosis shorter and shorter and shorter. And that helps with the treatment, because the earlier we're able to treat the disease, the more healthy we can live with our lives. It's also ensuring people with lupus have an arsenal of safe and effective treatments, and expanding direct services and increase access for treatment and care. We also come together to drive research. I think this is pretty amazing. If you look, if you think about every major breakthrough in lupus research as a result of the LFA and the affiliate chapters. We've also secured $550 million in federal funding for lupus research and education in the last 5 years. That's phenomenal in just 5 years' time. It's also accelerating the delivery of medicines, with more than 70 potential therapies being studied. And then last of all is the supporting of our thrivers. We serve collectively over 7.5 million people annually in their journeys. We spearheaded the formation of the Congressional Lupus Caucus to increase lupus research and funding. And we're making medication affordable due to protecting Medicare Part D and access to care for patients. So lots of great things are happening within the lupus world. That is a huge success, and things that we need to be proud of and celebrated, and know that your chapters and your national office are working for you. There's a lot of ways to get involved with both at the local and the national level. One thing that's coming up soon is the 2022 National Lupus Advocacy Summit. This is located in Washington, and this is all about advocacy to our congressional leaders as they are planning budgets and research and things like that from across the country. This year, it will be a hybrid model again, so you can attend in person or you can join virtually. So be on the lookout for that information. It is going to be at the end of June from the 26th to the 28th. And then if you are not a member yet of a support group, we have many throughout the state. We've got Cumberland County, Durham, Forsyth, Gaston, Guilford, Iredell, Mecklenburg, New Hanover, North Forsyth, Surrey County, Wake, and Wayne counties. These are where our support groups are located, and we'd love to have you involved. We also have different committees that you can be involved in, which is our community engagement, events, finance, fundraising, grants, human resources, marketing and PR, working with the medical community, policy, legal affairs, and programs. So if you are interested in getting involved in one of our committees, we would love for you to do so, and you can do that simply by emailing me. So now we're going to pause a little while, and I'm going to stop sharing slides. And we're going to take any questions that y'all might have. We have given you a lot of information, and you have been so phenomenal to work with us through our technical challenges tonight. So if anyone has a question, you can either put it in the chat, or we can you can unmute yourself and share that way. And we just want to have a little bit of open dialogue. So I will stop talking now. And does anyone have a question, or just maybe want to share what your support group means to you? Just be sure to unmute yourself.
Hi, Jenny. I have a question.
Yes. Hi, Maxine.
Hi, this is Maxine Sharp, and we met in Greensboro.
I remember.
Greensboro group, although I'm currently in Washington, D.C., but we meet virtually.
Right.
And I just wanted to, and it's been fantastic for all the reasons that you've mentioned. We need our group. But I just want to know, when I make a donation to the LFA in Washington, D.C., do I have to earmark it for North Carolina, or do I do a separate thing for North Carolina?
That is a great question, Maxine. I appreciate that. Yes, if you are wanting to make a donation to the North Carolina chapter, it needs to be made specifically to North Carolina. If you want to make it to the national office, it's specific to them. If you making a donation, you can do it on our website, and you'll see the link. That happens a lot, especially during walk season, and we'll see that happen. And if you did intend the dollars to be for the North Carolina chapter, I can let the national office know, and they will send those funds to us. But if you're wanting to support the North Carolina chapter, if you're writing a check, it would be LFANC for North Carolina, or on our website directly. Great question. Thank you. That does happen sometimes.
Thank you. I'll just send another check.
Okay, thanks. Are there other questions anyone has?
Hi, this is Vicki. I am with the North Charlotte Support Group. I just want to mention that because all of our groups are virtual now, the fact that there's not a group in every county, being virtual makes the groups available for everyone to participate. So this is the best time ever to participate in a group. I know some counties may be too far from, the closest group may be too far to travel, but the fact that they're virtual now, you can attend any group at any time. So groups are available to everyone now. Just wanted to mention that.
Great, thank you. That is a very valuable point. And if you are looking to get involved with a support group and don't know where to start, you can simply email our office and contact us, and we will connect you with either someone in the town you live with that has a support group, or with the virtual ones. Great point, thank you. And then I think I see Gail has her hand raised. Gail, did you have something to share or to ask?
Yes. Hi, I'm Gail. I live in Wake County, and I'm fairly new to lupus. Was diagnosed, well, I guess it'll be almost 2 years, so maybe not so new, but maybe newer than some of the ladies. I was just wondering, I just started on the newer medicine, the Safnello. So I was wondering if any of the other people on the support group was maybe also had started on it, and if they, what their experience, if they wanted to share was with that infusion. I feel like this is my like 9th medicine since I've been diagnosed. Nothing has really helped me. So, you know, they could put it in the chat if they wanted, you know, if they didn't want to talk about it, but I don't feel like it's really helping me. So,
Okay, I see, is it Katrina Kaysen? What, looks like she had something to comment on that.
I started the Safanello back in December. So I've had like 2 infusions, and what helps me, I actually have done the vitamin D with the Caltrate, I think that's in it. And then I also take 2 fish oil that helps me. So because I used to give myself injections, the Benlysta injection. So I feel like the Safanella, it helps. It just takes a good week to get in your system after you get your infusion, because it does make me exhausted. Like I have to immediately come home, go to sleep. And it does make my flares come more, like I've had them, so it's not like stable with my flares. But try the vitamin D when you're taking it. Try to do that every day, and then also take the fish oil to see if that will help you, if you can notice a difference.
yeah, I was on actually prescription vitamin D, you know, really strong vitamin D from the rheumatologist, and because my D was so low, but and I've been on the Safanello since November, and I had like a good November, and then pretty good December, and then I flared really bad New Year's Day, and then I just feel like I'm just like meh, you know, and nothing really remarkable, but not really feeling a whole lot better. So, but I'm glad that it's helping you, you know, so.
What about your diet? Have you changed more closer to a plant-based diet? That's what my nephrologist had me do more of a plant-based diet, because it's just what we're putting in our bodies. You don't think it has an effect, but it actually has an effect on your body. Like you got to watch your do you eat a lot of cheese or milk products?
I don't, but now I have really bad osteoporosis, so.
Yeah, it's like
You can't win. It's
like I understand. I'm with you.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of weight since I've gotten lupus. And not that I was a big person, but you know, I ran marathons before I got so sick. So I was really healthy, and you know, but I'm glad that you're doing much better with it, and hopefully it'll kick in at some point, you know. I got my fingers crossed, but thank you for telling me. Thank you.
Great. Does anybody have another comment on that? If not, I know Alvi has raised her hand to speak. One of the questions that did show up in the chat while we're talking about this is the Stefanello, how long it takes to work, like the time frame of when it kind of kicks in and makes a difference. So anyone taking that, see when they could tell a difference when taking that? I know it's fairly new. A lot of people are fairly new to it. So, okay, we're good. Okay,
Yeah,
so okay,
yeah,
Alvin, why don't we go to you?
Okay, yeah, I'm here. Hello, everyone. I'm in Winston-Salem. And Jenny, when you showed the slide earlier about the Central Forsyth County support group, I was a part of that support group, but even a little bit prior to the shutdown and the pandemic, the support group kind of fell by the wayside. We had lost a couple of members. And membership just kind of went down, and I guess the chair of that support group, she stepped back because she was having some health issues, which was
I think you're muted again, Albie.
So that, it was a 1-2 punch. So I don't know if there is another, I've heard rumors, but I cannot confirm it, of another support group meeting here in Winston-Salem. If they are, and this is a big fat if, they're doing it virtually through like a Facebook group. And I'm one of the millions of people out there. I don't do social media for a plethora of reasons. So, but if it's working for them, God love them. But my big question is I would like to restart a support group. I've talked to my priest at my church, and she says she's open to the idea of hosting a support group at our church once, things kind of get more open. So I'm looking to maybe this spring or this summer. And we both have entertained the idea of even doing a hybrid, because I know a lot of people, some days you're comfortable about going outside, other days you just want to be in the cocoon in your own room. And I'm with you. Whoever said earlier that they spent like this past week in their bed, God, I envy you, because I would have loved to been able to do that, because my flare-ups have been kicking my behind. So what steps do I need to take to start a support group here in Winston?
Okay, well, why don't we do this? I'll give kind of the broad overview for everyone to understand what that is. And then Alvi, I'm happy to connect with you offline to go into further detail about that. But for someone to start a support group in the area, of course, we want to make sure that there's interest and that we would that there's interest in the area, and that we want to have a support group leader and a co-chair, so that so there's at least 2 people helping lead the group in case someone can't be there. We, of course, want to make sure we have a facility, and then we want to do a training to ensure that you are given all the tools that you need to help lead a support group, everything from facility pieces to some skills on leading a group and communication and things like that. So there's the big picture, and the easy answer is it starts with a conversation with me, where we check interest in the area, availability, etc. It is a commitment, and we want people to make more than just a 1-year commitment, because if you have support group, as you've heard some of our different people share, that when they join a support group, it isn't for like just a couple of weeks or even a year. It is a long-term commitment, because that's the kind of support that is needed. So we want to make sure that the leaders are in it for the long haul, and we want you to have support along the way. So that's kind of the big picture of that. But Alvi, I'm happy to connect with you offline on anybody else that would be interested in that's thinking about that as well. So thank you. We would not be successful without our volunteers, that's for sure. So, all right, are there other questions that anybody has? I see Pat has her hand raised. Pat?
Hi, I have 2 questions. The first one is around the fundraiser for the Lupus Walk. This was really probably more of a curious question. It looks like as of 2020 is when we started having the walk in the month of October, which is largely known for breast cancer awareness. And it looks like, it sort of intersects with that. And I try to raise money for both, but, people don't want to see you coming twice at the same time. So what made them make the decision to move that from the April timeframe to October, which is—
Sure. That's a great question. So if you remember, 2020 is when the pandemic hit, and we had originally planned to have our walks in April and May of that year, like we always had. But when the pandemic first hit, if anyone would have told me that in 2022 we'd still be dealing with this, I would have thought they had lost their minds.
Right.
But so we made that decision then to postpone, and then realizing we weren't able to postpone. So that was the 2020 decision as well. We moved it to October. So then when next year came along, because the fundraising that people had done, people like you, Pat, that raise money for walk teams, and many of you on the call do the same thing, we felt like where we'd normally start things like our fundraising in the January, February timeframe, people had just finished in November, and we still didn't know what the world was going to be like. So we decided to do one more year of virtual and to pause and again, put it off early on thinking we might be together in person again.
Okay.
So that it's more of like what the circumstances has been. And so this year we committed to October again, with the absolute hopes we will be in person. Things look more positive. If I had to make a decision tonight and the board make a decision tonight, we would say we are having it in person in October, but we don't know what October is going to bring, right, with the pandemic.
Mhm.
So part of it is really just trying to wait it out. To be in person has been
Okay.
our biggest driver.
Okay. All right. And the second one is, during this pandemic, what opportunities are there to volunteer with the foundation? Because I really do want to increase my participation, as well as do some a certain amount of volunteer hours for the next
Okay,
year.
great.
So talk a little bit about like what the opportunities are given our situation.
Great. Well, thank you for that. And this will be, and just so you know, there will be an email that comes out after this event, after our after our meeting tonight with more details, but because I want you to have it. But we actually have just restructured our board of directors as well as our committees to make them much more nimble with our current environment. And there are opportunities, everything from event logistics, and event could be either virtual or it could be virtual, or it could be in person. We have opportunities to get involved with the medical community, community events, third-party fundraising, marketing and PR. We also have the opportunity that you could get involved with our board of directors. We have I know we have some of our board members on the call tonight, and they are the ones that provide oversight to the organization as well. And that's a commitment to get involved too. So we've got everything from finance committee to PR to human resources. So whatever your skills and talents are, we'd love to be able to use them for the organization. If you are interested in getting involved, Pat, I'm again happy to have a one-on-one conversation with you, and we figure out where you best want to use your skills and talents for the organization. And
Okay,
that's for anybody that would like to get involved in that way.
That would be perfect, because I want to talk to you about that and some partnerships with some companies that really want to help with fundraising and also visibility with products that may help those of us who have lupus. So there are opportunities there too. So I'll talk to you about both of those offline.
Okay, that would be great. And that is another thing, like connections that anyone can make for the organization to strengthen our pool, our reach, whether, like you said, like Pat mentioned, they had products or it's funding or whatever that may be. We really try to look at any of those relationships individually, because it's not a one size fits all. So think about who's in your network and who might be a good fit for what we want to accomplish.
Pat Evans from the Charlotte, North Charlotte group.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Hey, Pat, miss you.
Hey. I know it. We'll talk again soon.
I will recommend you for the board, Pat.
Okay. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank
I appreciate
you for that.
Yes, you're
But
welcome.
Pat, yeah, let's try to connect soon. I would love to do that. Okay, and then I think I got Tamika's hand is raised. Tamika, did you have something?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Right now I'm dealing with some hearing loss. I've been to the ear, nose, and throat doctor, and it's just been on a decline for at least a year or two now. So I was wondering, is there any resources or anything about like with hearing aids or anything like that?
As far as what we've got a list of resources that we can send to you that might help with whatever it may be that you're dealing with, anybody on the call would be dealing with, whether it's dental or whether it's emergency assistance fund to help fund some of those things. We've got lots of different options like that. But I do want to ask the group, has anyone dealt with some hearing loss, what they've done about it, and they might could help? Comment on what they're dealing with and what they've done or experienced.
I mean, I did write in the chat, but I said I'm being proactive. I'm learning ASL for if I lose my hearing completely. So me and my children and my grandchildren are learning sign language to communicate if I lose my hearing completely.
Okay, and then,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Can you hear me? Let me,
There's
I gotta fix the
echoing.
volume with that.
Tamika, I will tell you, if you want to email me separately in the morning, I'll get you some things as well. But I think it sounded like Debbie's voice.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me now? Yes.
Yes, and there's not an echo.
I did want to tell you that Allie did work with Valerie to
Mhm.
get a hearing aid set up for her, and it was through the Lions Club. And it took a lot of time, but Allie is the one that set it up. So I don't know if you can do it. She was working with the one in South Carolina because that's where she lived at the time.
Mhm.
So if you're in North Carolina, that is one agency you might check into to help someone, but I think it might have to come from you, Jenny.
Okay, and I remember us working on, I think that happened about the time I joined the chapter, and what a wonderful thing it was to be a part of that. So there are resources out there, and we're happy to help and serve in any way that we can.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And then I see a hand raised, not a name, but the email is like Cramble Babe. And you want to unmute yourself. Okay, you are muted. Okay, sounds like we just got some sound.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Where is your office actually located in North Carolina? I don't know where your office actually is.
Sure, our headquarters is in Charlotte. As far as a
okay.
physical office, we do not have a physical office. That was one of the things we were able to do during the pandemic, because most of our programs are out in the community. We're fortunate enough to be able to get out of our lease during the pandemic, which, knowing the impact that the pandemic's had on the organization financially, it was a huge savings for us to continue to offer the programs and services that are really needed.
Okay, because I was in Raleigh, so I was just wondering where you were.
So, what did you have? So we're in Charlotte, but we serve the whole state.
Do you have any groups in Raleigh? Do you have any support groups in Raleigh?
We do. Della, do you want to speak a little bit to your group, about your group?
Yes, our group, the Wake County, as I said, it used to be called the Raleigh Lupus Support Group, but because our county is so large with folks who live in Cary, Apex, Knightdale, and so forth and so on in Raleigh, it's called the Wake County Lupus Support Group. So we meet virtually. We meet virtually, as all the groups do, every second Thursday at 6 p.m. So tonight would actually have been our time of sharing and our support group. So feel free. I put in the chat where you can contact us, which is Wake County Group, Wake COGRP at lupusnc.org. Or you can definitely go to contact Jenny's office, but they have a listing of all the support groups there. But again, we meet every second Thursday. Did I say Tuesday? Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I'd like some information. I'd like to join the group.
Fantastic. We'd love to have you.
It would be great. And I think that just for everyone to make sure they heard that, if you are interested in joining one, you can contact the office and we'll connect you with one that's the closest to where you're located. And that's a great way to get that kind of support and services that you need. That information is on our website, but you can reach out to me, and we will, and Joey and Rita, who leads our patient services efforts, does a great job of connecting the person that's interested with a support group person, the facilitator in that area. And that's how it's just that simple.
Okay, thank you.
And then Crystal, we're going to bring up a question. Just make sure you unmute yourself. Crystal Kate?
Yes, hi.
Okay, hi.
I'm unmuting myself. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we're good. Thank you.
Okay. This is actually a question on behalf of my mom. And so the question was basically regarding about lupus support for men and wanting to be sure that men who may need someone to connect to, know how to engage with the appropriate people, because there are men, as we know, that live with lupus, but they don't often talk about it, just like men don't often talk about a lot of health conditions, unless they are encouraged by their significant other or another female that's in their life. So we just wanted to know, my mom namely wanted to know, are there resources or what are groups doing to kind of like loop lupus thrivers that are men into these discussions and connecting them with support groups in your areas, or if anyone has any insight on that. Thank you.
If any of the facilitators want to jump in on that question, and we, Crystal, have experienced pretty much exactly what you described. We just don't have a lot of inquiry of people that call our office wanting to be connected. There are, and someone just put this in the chat, there are some great male lupus social media groups that you can follow and be a part of. We, of course, want to support people any way that we can, but we've not had a big request for those things. But what about some of the facilitators? What have you guys done, or what do you experience on the local level?
Probably years ago, this is Della from the Wake County Lupus Support Group. Probably way back, I want to say probably 2014, when I was working with another co-facilitator. And we had one man that came to our support group. And of course, none of us discriminate, right? I don't know whether it is the comfort, as you probably said, Crystal, and sharing and maybe feeling that there were mostly women there. But we did have one male. And so I think, maybe that's something we should just kind of post and say that, men, we always say friends and families are welcome. But I think if there are men that are coping or living with lupus, we want to make sure that we are open and inviting and welcoming them into those safe places, which is our support groups as well. So I think, and thank you for lifting that up, because I think I will be more intentional even as I post something on our Facebook page to say, men are welcome, and do that. But that is a good point. But we have had one, and he came, and I guess he got the information he needed, but he was not a long-term person that continued to attend our support group meetings.
This is Vicki. We've had interest in the past to start a men's support group, and we even had at least one man that was going to start the group, but he was not well enough. He just did not stay well enough to make the training. We find that men will say they're interested, but they don't, and for comfort reason, they don't really follow through. We did all the preliminary work to, see how many men would be interested, would they really attend the group and all that. We had very few. And generally, when you're going to start a support group, we ask that you make sure you have a certain number of people that are interested before you're allowed to start the group. And we just could not get enough men to commit to attending the meetings. Now, does that mean they're not as important and we don't want to reach them? Of course not, but they just would not commit to attending the meetings. So we did try.
And then I think I saw in the chat that Tamika Griffin hosted one for, did I read that right? That in December? For men specifically? I may have read in the chat.
Yes,
so
that is correct. She did one, I believe it was in December, and I don't exactly know how she got it going. I helped advertise it for her, but she did it, I think it was that second Wednesday that night after our regular scheduled meeting.
Okay, great. All right, and then Barbara has her hand raised. Barbara, you wanted to add something?
I did.
Okay.
We do in Durham County that have been in our group, and we currently have in our group. So we're very, very welcoming
Very, very awesome. The men have participated, have brought a lot to the group. And you were talking about media and things of that nature. The men bring a lot of support that way as well. So it's been, wonderful.
That's great. And just because our support groups, just because they happen to all mostly have women in them, men are open, our groups are open to any male or female that want to join in. All right, other thoughts or questions that anybody has?
Jenny, it's Debbie again. I
Okay.
just wanted to say, yes, we've had men throughout the past 20 years join our group. One is a VA guy, and he loves coming and being part of our group. And there've been a couple of others. They come sporadic. It's extremely sporadic, but I do keep them on the list and try to keep them updated. And you hear from them every now and then. So at least it keeps them in touch with what's going on with the lupus community.
And I think the Wilmington group had a couple men for a while too, not too long ago. All right. Someone also just posted, if you haven't seen the chat, that that there is a short film.
Yeah, this is Erin.
Okay, thanks, Erin.
So, yeah, Jenny. So I posted that there are a lot of men with lupus who are active on social media. So that is something that I've really noticed on Instagram and Facebook. This actor and director, Kazi Tagingas, his mother had lupus. So he's a big lupus supporter. And he actually launched a film, I think it was 1.5 years ago, called Standing 8. And it's about a boxer who has lupus and how he has to deal with that. So, that could be a good introduction for a guy who has lupus, because they'll see that, it's not limited to just women, right? People have this misconception, and how he deals with it. So it just might be a nice link or an entry into that.
That's a great thought or idea.
I have a question, Jenny. How often do we have, when we have our summits, how often do we have a workshop that is specific to men and lupus?
I can tell you, since I've been here, we have not had one specific to lupus. So that would be 4 years now. I think that I've been here for summit. So we have, in fact, before 2020, we had kicked the idea of, even if we didn't have like a whole workshop on it, we would have a breakout group that men could go and almost experience a support group type thing. And then of course, the pandemic happened. But I think that I do think it would be a smart piece for us to consider going forward programmatically.
I think that'll draw them.
I think so, because there are a good number of men that come to Summit, and some of them, are coming there because they are a caregiver or maybe to gain more information. But I think, as we have said, maybe it's more comfortable if they're with just men. So that would be a great way for us to consider some programming on that level.
Absolutely.
Great question. Pat, your hand is raised. Is it still raised because you, it was already raised, or did you have another thought or question?
I do, but I want to make sure that you all have finished discussing the men with lupus.
Okay.
Before I ask this.
All right. Does
question.
anybody else have a comment on the piece with men? But that's great feedback. Thank you all for sharing that.
Okay. Well, first of all, I just want to say, thank you to you and whoever else helped pull this together. This was really great. And it was such a great idea that I hope you consider doing it more than annual. It'd be great if you do it quarterly and talk about critical topics like coping with mental health, which has been top of mind, just nationwide and things like that. It would be great if we could do this quarterly. Now, I don't know what it takes to pull this together, but definitely I think more than annual would be great. I don't know what everybody else is thinking, but I would love to interact more and share information and strategies like more often than just that once a year. Just think about that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that feedback. And I will let you know that this was, we have our facilitators that volunteer to lead the groups. This was an idea that came out of a facilitator meeting. So we kind of brainstormed and came together and thought, gosh, it really came out of the idea of wanting our people to connect, because it's been so hard to, and how could we breathe a little more energy and excitement in when we thought we were facing a few more months of virtual programming. And then we learned that my predecessor had attended the one of the Charlotte support groups and would give kind of this state of the union address, if you will. And we thought, well, gosh, let's be creative and figure out a way to do that. So that's how it came about. And then it was the work. It was not just me. We had many of our facilitators that were involved, and of course our marketing people and our so Joe and Adrian in the office, but definitely a team effort. But we're thankful that it's been received well, and we had it saying, gosh, we should do this every year. But it's exciting to hear that that people may want it quarterly even. So we'll get back to you on that, because we are spread a little thin on our programmatic pieces, but I think that that's great feedback for us to consider, as well as how we continue to communicate with each and every one of you of what's going on in the lupus world.
Sounds good.
That was my thought. Exactly. I was saying, wow, we should do this more often. I said, we should do this quarterly.
Exactly.
Well, I tell you, when we saw, when I got the report of how many people had signed up for this, we had 139 people sign up. And other than Summit, our different webinars and things like that, we have not had a program fill up that full since the pandemic. So I was thrilled and excited. In fact, the person, Adrian, pulled the report and she said it's 139. I was like, do you mean 39? And she's like, 139. I was like, this is great. So it's fantastic.
Well, it's convenient, and it's probably also very, cost effective too, from your foundation standpoint. So that's probably also why you got more participation, because it's very convenient. You don't have to travel anywhere and things like that.
And I think it's nice, I think, for us to see each other and to know that you are really part of something special throughout the entire state.
Agreed.
So great. Thank you. All right, we're closing in on the last couple of minutes. So does anyone have any before I turn it over to Debbie, any last questions? Well, okay. Silence means I'm going to take silence as there's none, but I want to thank each and every one of you guys for joining in tonight. Thank you for working through the technical difficulties. You would think by now I'd be a little bit better on that through all we've learned the last few years, but I appreciate I probably should have had my 16-year-old in here running the technology side of things. But again, thank you so much. Be on the lookout soon for information on the walks in Summit and the annual advocacy days in Washington, all that to come. So with that, I'll say thank you again to Myra, Barbara, Della for what you've done, and Debbie closing us out. So Debbie, I'll let you end things for us. And Debbie, we'll just wait for you to unmute yourself.
There it goes. Okay.
Okay.
I couldn't get the video part to work at all. So I worked on that several times, couldn't get that going. But anyway, yes, we really want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. And it's fabulous that we had over 50 people being part of the group. We were really wondering as the support leaders got together and we were talking about it, how many we get. So this is really fantastic. I know someone's already reached out to me and I've already sent my information to them. And every one of us are listed, and I put it in the chat area over there where you can find the different support groups, because we have them in the Fayetteville area, Wilmington, Raleigh, in the Winston-Salem area, Charlotte, too, in the Charlotte area, and others. I think there are a total, Jenny, of 14 support groups.
That's
Is that
correct.
Okay. So we have quite a few. And if you did not see that web link, could somebody else read it? Because I can't see it now.
As far as www.lupusnc.org. And what we'll do is some of the questions that came up in the chat, I'll make sure that all the people that were part of tonight get an email with the different links and things that were shared as a form of follow-up.
Okay. And the other thing that we wanted to say was thank you so much to Keandra Ewing for sharing with us her participation in the support group and what it meant to her. I know everyone in our group get so much out of it. A lot of times when we come to the meetings, we're really down and we're really struggling. I know yesterday during our meeting, none of us really were able to lift up because, as we indicated over there in the chat session too, the barometric pressure does mess with us. And so we have been going up and down all month long. And yesterday was a day where we're coming out slowly. Today seems to be a little bit better, at least for me. Don't know about you all, but I know rain's coming again this weekend. So I'm looking for Saturday not to be so good. And one of the things that we went over yesterday was the barometric pressure, and the several videos that we looked at indicated that 2 days before each one of the changes, when the low pressure is coming in, is usually when we feel our worst. And then when the rains or when the storms get here, that's when we start coming out of it. So if you're feeling bad, just know you're not crazy. It's a lot of other people going through it at the same time. And another thing that I wanted to mention, and we have so many educational opportunities, but one really great one that we have are all the other summits that we've had in the past. And I wanted to give you all that link. I don't know if that was mentioned. I may have missed it, but it's www.lupus.org/ the whole word North Carolina /resources /lupus-media-library. And we have got things talking about the gastro system, about the muscles and joints, about the fogginess of lupus, anything that you've got going on. More than likely, we've had a doctor or someone that's in a specialty that can help you with where you are right now. And that's what we get together and we do in the groups. We share what's been helping so that we can go to our doctors and share that information. We would love for other people to get to be part of our lupus walk. You can create your own team. I know quite a few members in my group create their teams and they raise tons of money. Thank you to each one of you that may have done that in the past, in the other groups too. You can go to amazonsmile.com and you can also add us, Lupus, Lupus Foundation of America, North Carolina. And we are listed as a support group that, or a foundation that you can submit to and do your donations that way. Also, don't forget your company match. That's very important if you are working, and they offer to match whatever donations you might do. After that, the only other things we'd like to say is we want to encourage you to follow us on social media. And also encourage your family to be part of this. We have other family members that do join us on a regular basis, whether it be a mother. Husbands love to come. Sometimes when we go out to lunch, we put them in one corner because they enjoy talking with each other and sharing and joking a little bit. And our group does go out to lunch about twice a year. We've been doing it carefully last year. But we did skip 2020. So I don't know, some of the other groups do some of the fun gatherings too, which creates a really good family atmosphere within the groups. Thank you to all of you all that have been here. And we appreciate Jenny for putting this together and bringing a wonderful slide presentation. We really appreciate it, Jenny. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna thank you, Debbie. That's all great information. There's a few questions in the chat about it. So what I'm going to do is I will send an email out to probably tomorrow to everyone that joined of all the different links, because I know we've thrown a lot of information at you and it's hard to go back in the chat. Maxine, I want you to know, I see that you have your hand raised, but we have mentioned so many things, like from the lupus movie to some resources to websites and things like that. So I'll make sure that each of you that are on the call tonight get those in an email to so you don't have to go back in the chat. That would be hard to do. So
Jenny, I think you can save the transcript as a
yeah,
host.
that's exactly what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to send it out to everybody and take out the pieces that that are not with a link in it. So I'll get that out to you, but thank you. That's a great reminder. Okay, and then I think Maxine had one last question, maybe?
Oh, no, I think you answered it. I was late, so I didn't know whether or not you provided us a copy of the presentation. I'd like to share that with the Guilford County group.
Perfect. So what will happen is, as a form of follow-up, this has been recorded, so that'll be sent out to you guys, as well as we'll probably post it on our website, and we'll send the follow-up email, like I said, with the information that each of you asked for.
You're awesome.
All right, and then Debbie just posted that last link in the bottom of the chat. So that would be the last thing. So other than that, again, thank you to everyone that joined. I'm so grateful for each of you. Thank you for your trust and support over these last couple of years. It's been much so different than I think any of us ever expected, nor do we think we would still be here. But if there's any good that comes out of this, I heard someone from a different, one of the pharmaceutical companies say the COVID lemonade is that we've learned we can do something like this and connect across the entire state, which is a very, very great thing that we've got. So that's the good that's come out of this. And it's been wonderful to see so many faces I hadn't seen in so long. And just thanks so much for y'all being here tonight and everyone that was a part of it. And have a great evening. We'll be in touch soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Bye.
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 Hey, Jenny.
Hey, how are you?
Hey.
Oh, hey.
Hello, she can see you.
How you
Hey,
doing?
Jamie, how are you? Good. How are you? I was looking on the screen for a man. I was like, I know that's a man's voice.
We miss you guys.
I miss y'all so much. It's
man.
I'm tired of this stuff.
All right.
He just
Hello,
walked in.
Della.
Can't wait to see y'all.
We cannot, hopefully in October, we are back together in person.
Hello, Della. This is Mama
Hey,
Ruby.
Miss Barbara, how you doing?
Doing just fine. Hi,
Right.
Barbara.
It's good to see y'all. This has been so good to see so many familiar faces.
Miss Barbara,
Yes.
my husband was telling you hi.
Oh, definitely.
Barbara, can you hear me?
Yes. Ruby?
Yes. Hello. Good to see you.